When we see public figures, especially those draped in celebrity and royalty, we often get a carefully constructed illusion, a polished, perfect image designed to dazzle and disarm. But what if that meticulously crafted persona is just a mask? What if the real story is far more unsettling, hidden behind a veil of PR and carefully managed optics? For years, Meghan Markle has been building an empire of perception, presenting herself as a compassionate advocate, a modern royal, a champion of change. But behind the dazzling smiles and curated appearances, a different narrative has been quietly unfolding, a persistent whisper from those who've truly seen her when the cameras are off, when there's nothing to gain and everything to lose by speaking out. And what they're saying will make you question everything you thought you knew. Remember that viral TikTok video? The one where the bubbly flight attendant gushed about Meghan Markle, showcasing a handwritten note, praising her kindness, calling her the Queen? It went everywhere. A heartwarming glimpse into Meghan's supposed down-to-earth charm, painting a picture of a celebrity who genuinely appreciates the little people. It felt like a feel-good Hallmark movie playing out at 30,000 feet. But for many, especially those in the airline industry, it didn't just feel too good to be true. It felt like a blatant setup. Because sharing a handwritten note from a passenger, talking about them by name, violating privacy, that's a career-ending breach of airline protocol. So for a video like that to not only appear, but to go viral without consequences, well, the only logical conclusion is that it wasn't just allowed, it was orchestrated. And the reason, many speculate, was a desperate attempt to clean up an image that was already cracking. Because the truth from the skies tells a vastly different story. Forget the TikTok fairy tale. Multiple airline staff from British Airways to American Airlines, the very people who've actually served her, quickly called BS. Their experiences painted a consistent, chilling portrait. Cold, rude, and utterly dismissive. She allegedly treated them as if they were invisible, beneath her notice, mere instruments to fulfill her every whim. But here's where it gets truly unsettling. This isn't just about general rudeness. It's about a calculated performance. According to multiple accounts, the moment Prince Harry walked away or out of earshot, a switch flipped. The polite smiles vanished, replaced by an icy demeanor. A senior British Airways flight attendant, unprompted, recounted serving Meghan on a long-haul flight to South Africa. Her account was jarring. Meghan allegedly didn't look at or acknowledge Archie once during the entire flight. No comfort, no feeding, nothing. It was the staff and nanny handling everything, while Meghan supposedly sat back as if the child wasn't hers. This wasn't exhaustion, it was a deliberate detachment, and the American Airlines crew shared similar, even more damning, stories. They described her as the worst celebrity they've ever dealt with. Worse than those who scream for caviar or throw tantrums over lukewarm water. Their consistent complaint? Demanding upgrades without paying, acting entitled to first-class service on an economy ticket, and turning genuinely mean when her demands weren't met. They literally described walking on eggshells at 40,000 feet, feeling like they were invisible, or not even human, in her presence. And this pattern of behavior wasn't something new that emerged with royal titles and global fame. Even before she married Harry, back when she was just an actress on the show Suits, the whispers had already begun. Insiders from low-budget film sets she worked on shared tales that made industry folks shake their heads. This wasn't a Marvel blockbuster, with massive budgets and luxury demands. It was small-scale, tight-knit productions just trying to get the job done. Yet, Meghan allegedly made life a living hell for the crew. She refused to travel with the team, demanding business-class flights on routes that didn't even offer them. And when she was told no, she didn't just accept it, she exploded. At one point, on a film set where catering barely stretched to bottled water, she allegedly demanded a private jet for a 2-hour flight. This wasn't a one-off. Multiple sources echoed the same sentiment: her entitlement, her attitude, her dismissive treatment of anyone who didn't directly serve her purpose. It was the "do you know who I am" energy, long before anyone truly knew who she was on a global scale. It's as if the moment she got a taste of the spotlight, she decided that basic decency and respect for others were beneath her. Once she married into royalty, this alleged behavior didn't just disappear or mellow out. It reportedly intensified. Stories began trickling out from palace staff. Quiet at first, then louder. People leaving their jobs, others refusing to work with her. The public excuses were always the same. She's under pressure. She's misunderstood. But behind the gilded doors, the same story repeated again and again. Accusations surfaced of a deeply challenging work environment, with reports of staff feeling undermined and disrespected. In the US, the narrative from American Airlines crew only solidified this. Meghan allegedly expected to be treated like royalty, literally, even when flying commercial. She didn't buy premium tickets, but demanded premium service. No eye contact, no warmth, just cold stares and clipped instructions. The staff would walk away from her section physically tense, describing the experience as walking on eggshells at 40,000 feet. This relentless pressure, the perceived hypocrisy of the TikTok video, was reportedly the final straw for many. Airline staff, bound by strict contracts and NDAs, began to reach out cautiously, sharing their side of the story, one where Meghan didn't just act entitled, but allegedly treated people with open contempt, making them feel utterly invisible. There's a strange, unsettling irony in this. Someone so obsessed with controlling her narrative, so meticulously curating every public appearance, seems to forget a fundamental truth: real people talk. Not just the PR teams or the fawning magazine writers, but the ordinary individuals who've worked with her, served her, or flown with her. They walk away with stories they can't forget, stories that pile up in whispers. This whole situation moves from simple entitlement to something truly unsettling when you consider how calculated it all seems. When Meghan knows she's being watched, she performs flawlessly, smiles, gratitude, even a handwritten note. But when the cameras are gone, when the Instagram filters are off, a starkly different version allegedly emerges. The kind that treats others like background noise unless they're useful. The kind that sees kindness as a performance, not a baseline. One airline staffer's haunting detail sticks. Meghan would only say thank you if Harry was in the vicinity, not out of forgetfulness, but because she was performing. And that's the kind of detail you can't fake. Even more disturbing is the seemingly airtight protection around this alleged behavior. Non-disclosure agreements, confidentiality agreements, legal threats. It's as if her entire public life is surrounded by a legal fortress. Whether it's airline contracts, royal staff protocols, or corporate image handlers, the people who claim to have seen the worst sides of her are locked into silence. This makes the PR stunts not just annoying, but deeply personal for those on the inside. They know the truth, but they can't speak it. So, when a TikTok video magically goes viral painting her in a golden light, it's not just frustrating, it's a slap in the face to the people who allegedly endured her behind closed doors. Even her own family seems to have distanced themselves. Her father publicly estranged, her half-siblings vocal critics, and lately even her mother Doria seems to be subtly creating space. At a Beyoncé concert, Doria showed up without Meghan. No shared photos, no joint glam. When Meghan later admitted on a podcast she was annoyed by it, the tone wasn't concern or curiosity. It was an undercurrent of control slipping. And for someone who allegedly thrives on managing every aspect of her image, that is terrifying. And then there's Harry, seemingly caught in the middle of this entire machine. He likely still strives to believe he married someone like his mother, kind, generous, graceful. But from what insiders say, he's allegedly been shrinking in the relationship, fading behind Meghan. He opens doors while she poses. He speaks softly while she dominates. It's as if the power balance completely flipped the second they landed in California. And if these stories are true, even Harry himself doesn't always get the real Meghan, but rather the version she wants him to. See, it all circles back to one profound truth. The way someone treats people when there's absolutely nothing to gain tells you everything you need to know about who they truly are. Meghan Markle has amassed fame, wealth, and an unparalleled global platform. But none of that means anything if, beneath it all, she treats people like mere props in her carefully constructed story. Eventually, that kind of behavior catches up, because even when people are silenced by contracts, loyalty, or fear, the truth has a way of leaking out. Quietly at first, then louder, until one day, the spotlight turns, and the mask finally slips for good. The sheer audacity of expecting royal treatment without the royal duties is a recurring theme that resonates deeply with those who've encountered her. It's a stark contrast to the narratives of humility and service she often champions publicly. This isn't just about demanding a specific brand of water. It's about a perceived fundamental disrespect for the roles and contributions of others. The subtle yet consistent nature of these alleged slights, the averted gaze, the clipped instruction, the absence of a genuine thank you, paints a picture of someone who views service personnel not as individuals, but as utilities. What's particularly fascinating is how this alleged behavior has manifested across wildly different environments. From a low-budget film set in her acting days, where she was just one of many aspiring talents, to the rigid hierarchical world of the British royal family, and even to the service industry aboard commercial flights. The consistent thread suggests not a response to specific pressures or circumstances, but rather an ingrained personality trait that adapts to, yet persists within, any given setting. It speaks to a deep-seated conviction of superiority that overrides situational norms and professional expectations. The public's growing skepticism isn't born from a desire to attack, but from a genuine confusion at the stark contrast between the carefully curated public image and the increasingly frequent whispers from those who've witnessed something else entirely. It's a challenge to the very idea of authenticity in the age of personal branding. How much of what we see is real, and how much is a meticulously choreographed performance designed to maintain control over a narrative that might otherwise unravel? This isn't just about Meghan Markle. It's about the broader implications for celebrity culture and the blurred lines between perception and reality. Consider the cumulative effect of these seemingly isolated incidents. Each story on its own might be dismissed as gossip or a disgruntled employee. But when a pattern emerges, spanning continents, industries, and years, from diverse sources with no apparent connection or agenda, it becomes increasingly difficult to ignore. The sheer volume and consistency of these accounts begin to form a compelling, if deeply troubling, mosaic of behavior. This isn't a single bad day. It appears to be a consistent way of operating, a foundational approach to interacting with those perceived to be beneath her. And it begs the question, if this alleged two-faced behavior is so prevalent, what does it truly cost those caught in her orbit? Beyond the immediate discomfort of a rude encounter, there's the erosion of morale, the feeling of being devalued, and the deep frustration of witnessing a public figure preach kindness while allegedly practicing the opposite in private. The emotional toll on staff, particularly those in roles designed to serve and facilitate, cannot be underestimated. It leaves an indelible mark, shaping their perceptions not just of Meghan Markle, but of the very nature of fame and power. Ultimately, the true measure of character often lies not in grand public gestures, but in the quiet, unobserved moments. How one treats the baggage handler, the server, the assistant, or the flight attendant. These are the interactions stripped of fanfare, where there's no camera to impress, no audience to perform for. When gratitude becomes a calculated maneuver, and respect is conditional, it raises profound questions about the sincerity of any public display. The glossy facade may persist for a time, but the truth whispered by many has a relentless way of eventually demanding to be heard, cracking even the most polished of veneers. Adding to the layers of complexity are the constant media narratives surrounding her. Some outlets paint her as a victim, relentlessly attacked by a hostile press and a rigid institution. Others portray her as a schemer, manipulating situations for personal gain. The truth, as always, is likely far more nuanced than any single headline suggests. Yet, the persistent echo of negative experiences from those in the trenches, the service staff, the crew members, the palace aides, offers a perspective rarely filtered through official channels or PR spin. It's a raw, unfiltered viewpoint that cuts through the noise. It's also worth examining the concept of celebrity entitlement in a broader sense. Is Meghan Markle simply an extreme example of a widespread issue among the ultra-famous? Or does her alleged behavior stand out even amongst a notoriously demanding cohort? The consistency of the complaints, especially from those who have dealt with countless other high-profile individuals, hints that her conduct might indeed cross a threshold that few others do. This isn't merely about being difficult. It's about a pattern that allegedly borders on contempt for those providing service, regardless of their role or location. The long-term impact of such an alleged disconnect between public image and private conduct can be profound. While a carefully managed narrative can hold for a time, persistent leaks and first-hand accounts chip away at credibility. In an increasingly transparent world, where anyone with a phone can record an interaction or share a story, the ability to control one's image completely is rapidly diminishing. The whispers grow louder, and the curated filter eventually falters, revealing what lies beneath. This could lead to a lasting legacy defined not by her declared intentions, but by her reported actions when the spotlight dims. Consider also the psychological toll this must take on those who work intimately with such a figure. To constantly witness behavior that contradicts the public face, to be subjected to alleged rudeness while others are shown beaming smiles and handwritten notes, creates a unique form of professional dissonance. It's not just about an unpleasant interaction. It's about a deeply unsettling feeling of being a pawn in someone else's public relations game, forced into silence while the false narrative thrives. This unspoken burden can weigh heavily, contributing to burnout and a desire for the truth to emerge. And finally, the bigger picture here isn't just about one person. It's about how much we, as an audience, are willing to accept the carefully constructed personas of public figures. It challenges us to look beyond the dazzling surface, to question the narratives we are fed, and to consider the stories told by those who have no stake in maintaining the illusion. The allegations surrounding Meghan Markle serve as a powerful reminder that true character is often best revealed not when the world is watching, but when it thinks no one is looking at all. What do you think? Do these stories suggest a calculated, public persona, or is it merely the unfair scrutiny that comes with immense fame?